the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. So I have to say straight away, for me, phone of the year already. And I know,
Wow. Look, I'm going to speak into the microphone again. Wow.
look, I know it's early and people are thinking, how could it be phone of the year when it's just January? But we've had lots of smartphones out this year already, right? But
Yeah.
I do like it. Now, let's get. I mean, what about you? The first impression. I've said phone of the year. What's your reaction?
It's almost phone of the year. How about that?
Almost phone of the year. Okay, all right. So
Yeah,
we'll get to that. So the first thing I want to
Yeah.
talk about is the design, right? So it looks exactly the same as the S23 Ultra, which looked exactly the same as the S22 Ultra. Now, I think I've been seeing this a lot in the comments. I'm not hugely bothered about it because I still think it's a really good design. I think the biggest change here is that we've got titanium, right? So Apple had titanium for the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Now we've got it for the S24 Ultra. I like it. I like the matte finish because previously it was glossy. But using this over the past couple of weeks, the one thing that, is kind of a thought that I have is that fair enough, it's titanium. It looks nicer. It's supposed to be more durable. I'm not going to drop it. But it's not any lighter because we've gone from aluminium to titanium. Now, on the iPhone, we went from stainless steel to titanium. So the weight difference was something that was noticeable. On the S24 Ultra, it's like 1 or 2 grams.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel the S23 Ultra is lighter. Or maybe because it's not as thick. Because if you notice with the design of the S24 Ultra, the sides
Slightly thicker.
Slightly thicker, yeah, on the device. But I think even though titanium might be the biggest change, I think the biggest change is the flat display. You really notice it. You really notice it when you're using the device and how good it is. Even though I was one of the proponents who loved curved displays.
So, you must have seen the clip from the previous podcast episode, and Enabong did say that he prefers curved displays. And I was like, no, for me, it's, I think curved displays look better, but flat displays are more practical. And we've got symmetrical bezels as well, which I think, a lot of these aspects go towards it. So I think we're definitely team flat display now. Would we agree on that?
Yes.
Welcome change.
I've switched.
I think there's a small minority of people who think like, oh no, why hasn't it got a curved display? But I think especially when you're using with the S Pen and stuff, it doesn't kind of just fall off the edges. I think it's a good shout from Samsung for going with the flat display. I think it definitely works. But let's talk about this display because it's brighter, which I absolutely love. Right? It's still one of the best displays out there. But the key thing is that it's using Gorilla Armor. I was going to say Gorilla Glass Armor, but the official term is Gorilla Armor. Now, this is supposed to be more scratch resistant. I'm not going to test that. My S23 Ultra, loads of scratches because I didn't use screen protector. The S24 Ultra, it has Gorilla Armor, which is supposed to be more scratch resistant, but also reduces reflections. And this is very noticeable. So when you put this up against pretty much any other phone out there, whether it's direct sunlight or a direct source of light, you're going to notice that it's way less reflective, and that's actually much better, for that viewing experience. Now, having said that, one thing that I did notice straight away, because I just came straight from the S23 Ultra, was that it's not as vibrant. It's not got that same saturation level. Now, I asked you, and you were like, no, it looks the same to me. And I was like, okay, you know what? Let me actually talk to somebody who might know a thing or two about displays.
That is
I'm
not
kidding.
true.
No, so I messaged Tom, and then I also messaged Samsung, and they said, yes, it is not as vibrant. And that seems to be a byproduct of being less reflective.
Yes. So to my defense, Saf sent me a message. I woke up in the morning. It was, me waking up. I took a look at it, and I was like, it looks fine. So it was little hazy eyes, but... The one thing to, whatever. The one thing to mention is once you put a screen protector on the display, that nullifies that reflectiveness completely.
Okay, so here's the thing about the screen protector. So this is something I mentioned, right? If you put a normal screen protector on, guess what it's going to do? It's going to you're no longer going to have the anti-reflective properties because now you've got a layer in front of it, right? So this anti-reflective property that you have on the Gorilla Armor, if you put a normal screen protector, it's going to take that away, and then it's going to actually look a bit more vibrant because now it's a bit more glossy, right? So that's what it seems like. Now, this is something that a lot of people were asking me that, so if I put a screen protector on, it's going to go. However, Samsung do have some anti-reflective screen protectors. So if you still want to keep that anti-reflectiveness, right, then and you want to use a screen protector, then you want to go for an anti-reflective screen protector. If you use a regular screen protector, which we're doing right now, you're going to lose the anti-reflectiveness.
Yeah, but I think it also goes to play on the idea of what vibrancy is. If a screen protector can take away that, then it just is all about how you are reacting to the way light shines on that display. Now, I'm not saying that it's good or bad. I think, Samsung was trying to offer something that, especially when people are using these devices outdoors, in daylight, that they could actually see the display without reflections and things like that. So for me, it's fine, because I also had the same complaints on my videos on the new Samsung TVs, the new OLED TVs that have a new reflective coating, and people are like, it's not going to be as vibrant, and I'm like, yes, but it's not going to change the image quality and the color volume of it. It's just that you're seeing it now differently instead of, trying
It's
to...
also what I was used to with every other screen, right? So like every other smartphone screen that we have, we're used to seeing that now. So it's a bit of a change. But if you ask me right now, okay, so you get which has those anti-reflective properties, slightly less vibrant, right? Or would you go for something that is reflective and doesn't have those properties? And I'll be like, you know what? I'll actually go with Gorilla Armor, because it's a compromise I'm willing to make for that anti-reflectiveness. Although right now I've got a screen protector on mine, because after the mount I scratched up the S23 Ultra, I'm like, yeah, I probably don't want to do that with this. So, shout out to Spigen, who sent out some screen protectors. So we've got them on there. I will try some anti-reflective ones as well to kind of see what that effect is. But nevertheless, beautiful display, right? And all the right things that we have seen on it, right? Now, one thing that I want to touch on are the cameras, because this has been somewhat of a controversial topic. So let me just say that the S24 Ultra, amazing cameras overall, right? Great for photos and videos. I am definitely for the 5x zoom camera, the 5 times zoom camera, which has a high resolution. So it's not the 10 times camera that we had on the S23 Ultra, but guess what? It still does really good at those extended zoom ranges because it's got a higher megapixel sensor. So I still really like it, right? What are your thoughts on the cameras so far?
I've got some mixed feelings on the camera. Okay. It's not bad, but just mixed. So I think, when you look at it from my skin complexion, because I did my whole video on that, it's the best phone for black. It's the second best phone for black people, besides the Pixel, which does a better job at darker skin tones. Yeah. So I appreciate that aspect of it. The 5X looks really good. I would say compared to the iPhone, it's comparable. Some situations slightly better, especially on my skin tone. Caveat there. I understand what Samsung said, that, a lot of people don't use the 10X, because I actually went back to look at how much 10X photos I took. Not that much. So I can see why, they made that. But people like us, we still do take photos like that in general. My own thing is, whenever it switches to 10X, they have this very funky haze over the image itself. I can't describe it properly. It's almost like a blue tint.
You need to wear
which is...
I'm joking.
It's
I'm joking. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's right. So I think that's a software thing. I think that's a software thing that will happen. And I think some of the HDR issues that some people have noted can be fixed via software. My thing is more of how the imbalance of the skin tone is, especially someone who's much lighter than me, a white person compared to me. It's very jarring just looking at some of Tom's photos, for instance, right? And how it makes him look. So I think there is some fine tuning that needs to happen, but I think the image quality is still really good. The one thing I will mention is, Samsung, please, your 24 megapixel option, which is only on Pro mode, make that the standard.
Like what
just a regular
Apple
photo.
do right now with their primary camera. Shoot as
Because-
standard at 24
exactly.
megapixels, you get more detail. Yeah.
Yeah, so much more detail. I know, yes, they're combining the 50 and 12 to get that, but it looks really good. And maybe it's just the processing might be a little longer, but it didn't seem like that to me when I took a photo. So just make it a standard and call it a day.
It seems like the main reason why Samsung went for the 5 times zoom is because the range between 5 up until 10 times, right, was not great on the S23 Ultra, because as soon as you got to say around 8 times, then you're using the 3 times, and then you're using everything else is just digital after that, right? And then when you compare it to something like the iPhone or the Pixel, which both have 5 times zoom cameras, it's just not as good. So I think that the fact that they've gone for this, I think is definitely the right move. Now, one thing I want to touch on is the software, right? Because one of the things that I got so many comments on, because there was a rumor that there was going to be a software update before release, which didn't come, by the way, haha. But there was like all of these comments about, why don't you wait till the update? And I'm like, what update? I'm sorry, but we haven't been told to hold back testing, right? We've been told to test, and we can only test what's in front of us, right? Okay. Now, if there was an update that was supposed to be coming, then, that's when we should have got the devices, right? Because even if somebody's like, oh, the embargo is at a later time, you can test it. You've got the phone right now. You're still going to be testing it. So the only time you can properly test it, if there was this update, for example, is after that update. But then we've got the devices before that, so we can only test what we've got, right? And there was this whole like big debate online saying, oh, you YouTubers doing it for views and stuff like that. And it's just like, wait, hold on. Like, we've been given the devices. We need to test it. We're not going to wait 2 months and then do the test when everybody's already bought the phone, right? People are pre-ordering the phone. Absolutely. They want to know the reactions of what we do and what our job is, essentially, to test these phones as we are provided for them. If they are not ready, then they shouldn't be given to us, right? To reviewers to review. Simple as.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I think the only time that we can give that kind of grace is, say there's a 2-week period before we get the device, and we get it on Monday today. And, the review embargo is 2 weeks from now. And Samsung says, hey, guys, could you just wait till Wednesday? There's an update. Sure, I can wait till Wednesday. It's 2 days.
Yeah,
I could give them that time so I can get the update, and then like, hey, this is the final update, makes sense. But when you're not told anything in that kind of manner, plus you guys, some people just don't understand how long it takes. I don't do camera comparison because I know how long it takes Danny forever to just take the photos, videos, and then compile them together, which is why I just kind of stay away from that. It's a lot of work.
I'd say it's the most difficult video still to do. I've been doing them for over 10 years now, and they are still the most difficult videos to do, but they're also the most rewarding, because that's what people come to my channel. A lot of people come to my channel because I'm the camera comparison guy. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of highlight that look, we can only test what's given to us, right? Okay. And based on my testing, this is the thing though, my reaction was, I actually said the cameras were really good, because I really do like the S24 Ultra cameras. I think there's certain areas that can be improved, and I think a lot of people were looking at my camera comparison because I started with cinematic mode. Now, you know this as well. iPhone does cinematic mode better than pretty much, everything else out there. So they're taking that and they're like running with it, and they're like, oh, the Samsung cameras are not good. It's like, but there's a 20-minute video. You watch the first 15 seconds. Watch everything else, because there are certain situations where the S24 Ultra actually does better and has improved massively. And I'd say in video in particular, it's improved quite a bit. You've got some really good quality video, and especially with dynamic range, I think it was really going toe-to-toe with the iPhone, which I think is, like a big prop to Samsung for actually improving the cameras on that side of things, right? So yes, there were certain areas where it wasn't as good as the iPhone, but there were certain areas where it was better. So I think, if you ask me right now, cameras, I'd still say very, very good overall. They're only going to get better with software updates, right? Whenever they do come. But that's my sort of thoughts on the camera so far.
I agree with you. I think the other thing people don't realize, and maybe because a lot of, your camera videos are long, there's also many things to cover, is this camera is more feature packed than you imagine. There's a 4K 120. You can now record 4K 60 on all devices. You also have that AI camera zoom thing. I forgot what it's called again specifically, that can record 2 different points at the same time. You can record with the front and the back cameras at the same time and have it as 2 separate files, not the same. So if you're vlogging, this is great, because you can walk around, talk about a scene in front of you while you're still capturing yourself. So there's a lot of features in the camera. I think the one thing that I want to see Samsung do is simplify some of those features. 4K 120 should be on the main, just in the main camera rather than going to the Pro mode, just because it's there. Things like that, where they can easily move things around in the software, so it's more accessible to people. Because I think a lot of people don't realize that this is a very feature-packed camera, as well as also a very good camera in total.
100%. And then, speaking of features in AI, you mentioned, I mean, this is, Samsung are calling it the AI phone. And there were lots of really cool AI features. Like on the imaging side of things, just being able to edit after the fact, right? Maybe not something you're going to use all the time, but you can always go in. If you've got a friend like I do, like E, who always takes pictures a little bit off angle, you can sort that out later. When we were in Vegas that time, if we had the S24 Ultra, we wouldn't have had to take 300 shots just to get a straight shot.
Look, to my defense, right? Okay, there's no defense. Seriously,
there's no defense.
It took me forever
There's no defense. But I mean, there are some really cool AI features. But on the topic of AI features, the one thing that a lot of people, well, I didn't initially notice, but then it was in the small print, and everybody was talking about it afterwards, is that these features, firstly, should be coming to the S23 Ultra as well. In the coming months, some of them at least, or if not most, and they are only going to be free up until the end of 2025, after which we don't know. There might be a monthly charge for some of these AI features. There might be one-off charge. I don't know. We don't know yet. Samsung hasn't said anything. Would you pay for these features going forward? That's the question.
Yes. Maybe not all the features pertain to me, but I think a lot of people first have to go away from, I think we need to slowly back away from the freemium model that we've had for, years, and people have to understand Samsung isn't making the AI backbone for this. This is something that Google has with its Gemini as well, right? So again, this is something where that partnership with Google and Samsung has brought this forward. We don't know; they don't know where that partnership is going to land. So I'm glad at least it's somewhere there saying, "Hey, look, it might go away, or it might be something where you have to update because maybe this version of AI just doesn't work as well." So I get that, but I think in terms of features, yes, I would pay for some of them.
How much would you pay? Like, say it was all of the features, right? So you want to carry on using all of the AI features. What's the monthly charge that you would be willing to pay?
I would raise the price by $50. The phone. Don't do a monthly charge. Just raise the price.
Well, they have already raised the price by $100.
yeah. Okay, there you go.
But remember, say for example, okay, you've got your S24 Ultra.
$299. $299 a month.
$299 a month. I think that's reasonable.
Yeah.
$299 a month.
Yeah, $299 if it's just
if you want to use that.
if it's just this feature set. But if there's something bigger and more robust, then maybe $599. Maybe if it's a I don't know, proper AI assistant that does other things.
Because the other thing as well is with these is that you want them to improve. You want these features to get better. So you're not just paying for. So if you've got a monthly subscription, they can reinvest in making these features better and maintaining them and improving them. Right? Maybe adding more languages, etc., etc. So maybe I'd say, I think $299 Samsung. If you're watching and listening, that's the kind of price that we would be willing to pay. But having said that, okay, AI features very cool, like especially like the chat assistant and the live translation when you're making phone calls. Like the thing is though, here's my thing, right? How often are people going to use those? Now, if you're somebody who travels, okay, or you speak to somebody, maybe somebody's trying to find a wife that doesn't speak the same language as them, right? Okay. Maybe Colonel Singala. wants to have a variety, right, of wives. So then he is speaking to different ones. Then for somebody like that, yes, I'm joking, by the way. But, for somebody who is traveling a lot, somebody who's speaking to somebody, or trying to learn the language, brilliant, okay? On your day-to-day, I don't think I'll be using those features very often. And this is where the question comes in that, they're very cool features, and especially like to show them off. They're like, wow, like I've shown them to people and they were like, this is amazing. But it's like, okay, when it comes to practicality, how often do you use them?
I think yeah, you're right. Those features, some of those features are not. I think the photo editing and generative AI ones will be used more, especially you just cropping out people, and that's something that I think will be a day-to-day. You take a shot and you remember, oh, you know what? No, don't worry, it's fine. We're good. I can take that person out. Or I can make us look cooler or do something else with it. I also think stuff like the note-taking transcribe feature with AI, that I think a lot of people will use. People who are at least who take a lot of notes. My buddy, you know him, Sam. He's doing a master's program, and he just got the S24 Ultra, and he's like, man, this is great in class because I can record. And done.
Amazing.
I don't have to do anything else. So those kind of things will happen. I think it's just a matter of I think people have to be patient with AI on devices to find the right kind of features that work for them. There are going to be a lot of features that are being thrown out. And to be fair, all these features are very useful. They're not useful all the time.
Yes.
And I think that's this is the difference from being a gimmick where like, oh, this is fun. No, you would definitely use this. I remember, the call feature, I was talking to Samsung and I said, when I went to Korea with you guys, we had to go to a restaurant that you had to call to book. And yet you had to do in Korea. I had to use a service online to book the restaurant. And I'm like, I could easily just called and just done this. No questions asked.
Well, it's interesting. Let's see what happens with these AI features and how much we use them going forward. One great thing is the software. Samsung has promised 7 years of software. Sorry, not 7 years, 7 generations of OS updates and 7 years of security updates, which brings it in line with Google. Amazing. Battery life has been great. A little bit better than my S23 Ultra. And performance as well. We've got the 8 Gen 3.
Oh, 8 Gen 3 is a beast of a chip. I mean, some of the benchmark numbers I've seen from, mine are close to the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Some are better depending on what benchmarks you run. So for me, this brings in the question because I've been playing a lot of, console level games on the iPhone, and I'm going, Samsung, Android, whoever, you guys can do it. Your processors are pretty much benching the same. So, yeah, I need to see some of that.
Yeah, but performance, again, has been top-notch. You've got no worries in terms of performance. And price, now, look, they've increased the price in the US by $100, right? UK is the same. But some of the pre-order deals have been mad. So, shout out, affiliate link. You can get $150 in free Samsung credit. You can get double the storage. So you can get the 512 gigabyte version for the 256 gigabyte version price. And on top of that, there's boosted trade-ins as well. So in my comparison of the S24 Ultra versus the S23 Ultra, I kind of said, obviously, you don't need to upgrade. If you've got the S23 Ultra, you don't need to upgrade. You don't need to get the S24 Ultra. However, I kind of broke it down with all of the discounts. So I said, if you use your student discount, okay, you get 10% off. Then you get the Samsung credit, which you can use towards other things. I mean, fair enough, it's not money off, but you consider that discount that you've got there as well. Then you consider the double storage, right? Then you consider the trade-in. So if you've got the S23 Ultra, you trade it in, you get $750. If you count all of those discounts, you'll be paying the equivalent of $270. Or if you're not a student or you don't know a student, right? You'll be paying up to $400. Now that, as an upgrade, is like, wow, that is, if you consider all of those pre-order deals, which I'm not sure how long they're going to last, right? Then it's kind of like, makes it a lot more compelling. Even in the UK, you had double the storage, but as well as that, you had, I think right now they've got £100 off, but you got the Galaxy Watch for free. Again, you got accelerated trade-ins, like amplified trade-ins and stuff like that. And again, when you consider all of that, like, one of my friends, Richard, he was just like, oh, I need to, like, shall I just trade in my S23 Ultra because it's going to cost me 300, I don't know, like few £100, like 400 something pounds. Like, should I do it? And I was like, dude, it's up to you. You don't need to do it, but the deals are pretty good right now.
Oh, yeah, it is. Quick note, though. Anyone can get that student discount. You just have to click it. That's it. On Samsung's website. It's pretty much.
You don't need to prove that you're a student. We're not. I've got nothing to do with this. Okay.
But you're right. Those deals are great. I think on average, what I've seen from a lot of my subscribers is a lot of people are like, yeah, I paid like $800 for the device. Because yes, they didn't trade in like, a brand new phone or a phone from last year, but they got like 800 off plus, upgraded memory and also getting the free smartwatch as well. So there is a lot to that price point deal that Samsung does. Samsung plays the margins really well, especially when they want to, that allows people to upgrade quite effectively.
Yeah. So, I mean, overall, S24 Ultra recommendation, I'd say, yeah, brilliant phone. If you're considering it, do check it out. We'll be covering it more extensively going forward anyway, as we do on our channels. But if you ask us, when you ask me, I'd say it's phone of the year.
Yeah, it is almost, at least for me. Yeah, we'll hold on to that. But I would just want to add the S24 line this year the Plus, the regular, I think also have got a really good upgrades just in terms of just full feature sets, at least with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 versions here in the US. I don't know about the Exynos versions. That's a whole.
Well, this is the thing.
discussion.
That's a test that we're going to have to do, because in the UK and other regions for the S24 and the S24 Plus, there is the Exynos 2400, whereas in the US and other regions it's 8 Gen 3. Whereas the S24 Ultra is consistent across the board, which is another good reason to go for the S24 Ultra. It is the one chip across the board.